The first part of our introduction will bring us into the understanding of two concepts that are very important to understand within that type of teaching. The first concept called time, and the second concept called space. Which together is time and space. Basically, time is a spiritual thing which limiting a physical thing. So as everyone knows, time, you cannot really hold time in your hands, and you can count time, but the actual definition of time is not a physical definition. It will be a complete spiritual definition. And a time limits everything that within that boundary. It means everything that grows, everything that starts. Everything will have a beginning, and everything will be having an end, except of the one that because of him and thanks to him all started. Because that's the case, that he is one and unlimited. Now, basically, Hashem is Torah. He created that creation. It is in a certain manner that, basically to understand it, let's take a point. Our landmark will be, in that case, for the reason of that explanation, basically to take the sun as the center of our solar system, and within our solar system, all the planets, they're orbiting and they're circling around the sun. And each one of them takes a different amount of time to just complete an orbit around the sun. And of course, all the lights for all the planets goes from the sun, and all living beings, they receiving the energy out of that light, and etc. But I'm not going to get into the details too much, which is probably in a later stage we'll be able to discuss that. Now, it's very important to understand, even though the sun is the actual center of the solar system, it's not the center of the whole creation. And if you compare it to the human body, as if to compare the person from his belly button, which is where everything starts when he's in his mother's womb, and then when he develops. But that is the beginning point, but that's not the actual center, because the person's center obviously doesn't come from the belly button, it comes from the head down, which the head controls all the systems in the body. So in a similar manner, we will discuss that the earth, which is basically the belly button of all creation, as it says in Yerushalayim, we have in Jerusalem a stone, a very, very special stone, Even Ashtaya. There is some Gorsim Even Ashtiya, some saying Even Ashtaya. It's impossible to say what is wrong and what is right, because they're both correct. Because Shtaya from the word Tashti, from the word foundation, Shtiya from the word drinking. So basically, and according to the both meaning of the word, you can understand that that's basically where it all starts. Now, to understand a bit further down, we need to see that we get back into the concept of how each planet orbits the sun. And let's say first we take the Earth. The Earth takes 365 days to complete a circle around the sun. And as we probably know, have heard before, the human body contains 365 tendons, which is bring the existence of the actual body within that time. Now, in a Jewish law, there is concepts of a negative commandment and a positive commandment. There are 248 positive commandments and 365 negative commandments, which is bringing the existence of this in particular body within that time space. Means that 248 is the amount of the organs in the human body. And 365, that is the amount of the tendons that connects between muscles, between the bones, and between those organs. When I'm saying organs, I'm talking about the internal organs. The Talmud states exactly what the names of those in particular organs, and what's the classification, and each one the definition. It's very complicated to get into the meaning of everything. It is there. The information is there, and it's possible to explain it. It's just going to take a very long time by itself to define each organ of the body and how the harmony within the body works. But let's not leave the subject. So we'll be able to reach a certain amount of understanding. So within that time, which is 365, Hashem Yisborach, God Almighty, gave us a present to the Jewish people to define their existence within time. So the concept of Israel is not just a place. In Israel, it's a concept which defines the word Reshit. Reshit means beginning. So Israel within time will be Shabbos, Saturday. Israel within space will be Eretz Israel, the land of Israel. Israel within the fruit will be Bikurim. That's the offering that we bring from the fruit when the fruit is harvested. And Israel in bread will call Arisa, and etc. And there is a complete listing of those beginning things they call Israel in every element and layer of reality. Now, going back to the time element and time aspect to understand what is this time, to be able to understand what's the limitation, we bring out an example. The example of what is a spiritual distance. Many people say, oh, I want to be close to God, would be nice to have some spirituality. I really want to get something, some feeling. But to be honest, that's not the way it works. Works in a bit of a different manner to that, because first of all, to explain that, we need to explain what is a spiritual distance. For that, I will be able to bring an analogy, a mashal, so you will be able to understand what I'm saying. As if you take two people and sit them next to each other. One person, he likes pizza, and he likes falafel, and he likes some cakes, chocolate, name it. The one person next to him, he sits exactly next to him, but he doesn't like pizza, he doesn't like falafel, he doesn't like chocolate cake, and whatever this individual likes, this one doesn't like. Although those two are very close to each other physically, spiritually, they're as far as east and west. So from that, we understand that a spiritual distance is actually matching in forms of will, the will that we spoke in the previous introduction. And from the other hand, you can take two people, one in Australia and one in the other end of the globe in France, two from Jewish people, that they both keep Torah and mitzvahs, and they both love the Rebbe, and they both connected with the Rebbe. They're very far physically from each other, like tens of thousands of kilometers. But spiritually, they're as close as that. Because if you take those two people and bring them into one room, then those two people will be able to be the best friends ever, and they will have a great time together. So that's the meaning of a spiritual distance, basically. And to understand and to define what a spiritual distance, we probably will get into that detail a bit farther down the track. But before that, we know about Shabbos, that one of the most significant present gifts that have been given to the Jewish people. In Shabbos, as you know, everything stops for us. We go out, we wear our best clothes, we wear the nicest shoes, And we just go out there, and the whole entire world. If you live in Galus, if you live somewhere else,